Ladies and gentlemen, wadau na wadauet, manze siku ni freshi, and as promised on our previous live, leo manze tuko na Jeremy Mwangi. Jeremy Mwangi, wase wengi wamekuwa kiniuliza pale kwa DMs, on emails, Twitter, IG, YouTube, mambo ya F1. Now, I can only speak about something that I know. Most of the time, ukiniuliza something about F1 visa and how to come to the United States as a student, mimi nakuwaga na Google tu na kujibu. But leo, we are fortunate enough to have our guest. Wacha ajiintroduce, atuambie a little bit about himself, na alafu tuende tu kwa story yake, vile alifika Marekani.
Yes, my name is Jeremy. Currently completing my master's program in US. This is a journey that it's everyone anataka akiwa in his youth. Also, mtu anataka kupursue like further education because of US. You'll get the best or the best education facilities and even programs that probably zingine haziko back at home. So that was drove me kuja huku US, and I decided to pursue my dreams.
Right.
And it's almost coming to a reality.
Well, yeah, from Kenya. But there, pia mimi, I wanted to, before I knew about the green card, my ambition was to come as an F1 student. Now, maybe unaweza tupeleka nyuma kidogo. There are so many people who dream about it, but very few wanafikaga kanan. You thought about this plan na ukaanza kuexecute aje, na mwishowe hata ndo ukuje upate, uende through the process, upate visa. Maybe take us back kidogo. You had the vision, you had the idea. First of all, even before we get there, Jeremy Mwangi, what were you doing in Kenya, and what prompted you to come to the United States?
So I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. I've ventured to a number of businesses. At the time I was doing my bachelor's, I've done bachelor's of science in finance in the Cooperative University of Kenya in Karen. So after completing my bachelor's, that's why I had ambitions of pursuing master's program. And that's how my desire kukuja US ilikuwa, kwa sababu for my case in doing my master's abroad, my first qualification or requirement was an English speaking country. For me, I was never ready to start learning a new language. Kudos to those people wenye wako Europe, walihave kulearn Dutch,
German,
French and the rest.
Yeah.
So for me, it was either US, Canada or Australia. Australia came out of the list very fast because of the requirements. Nearly feel it's a high hill for me that I wasn't ready at the time.
Yeah.
Then Canada is a good place, but I did not know anyone or anything about Canada, so US was the only option for me. And that's how nikaanza kutafutana na ways za kufika US. I have a family friend mwenye nilicommunicate na yeye, and at the time akani guide on a school. It's called Southern Arkansas University, called Arkansas. And for me, I never applied to many schools in US the way people know that it should be done. Like you should have applied to 3 to 5 universities. I just applied to one single university, and I got admitted, and got my I-20, and now started my F1 visa interview process.
Okay.
So for me, I'd first considered using an agent and going to the agent, communicated with the agent, told the agent my plans, what. He's a profession, like he has done it for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately did not take up my application, or rather did not onboard me for the process.
Why not?
So the reason was because in my bachelor's I had a GPA of 2.67.
Uh-huh.
Oh, before we come to this place, I skipped for to be accepted to get any admission in US, either masters or bachelors. You need to convert your certificates to US standards. There are
Okay.
three there are three common companies that are used by universities here.
Mm-hmm.
One is called West, and the other one is called Spartan. Then there's a third one.
Okay.
For me, I use Spartan
Mm-hmm.
at the time, and they were efficient. So that's how you know your GPA. Because I think at the time it's only Strathmore nilikuwa najua wao wako na hiyo system ya GPA. I came to learn about GPA while I was coming to US and had already completed my bachelor's.
Okay.
So I had a GPA of 2.67, and the agent was only onboarding those who have 3.0 and above.
Akakwambia wewe uwezi, you will never see America with your eyes.
Aliambia mimi,
Yeah.
besides even getting an admission, I cannot get a visa to
Yeah.
come with student way.
Mm-hmm.
But who is God? Niko US sahi namaliza masters.
So that's a learning curve for so many people who get discouraged from the onset, because unajua ukiambia mtu dream yako, not everyone will cheer you on. Some people will try to tell you haiwezekani.
Yes, I can say with confidence, never cut short yourself. Like, never judge yourself that you are not, you'll never achieve something. Try it, then never hear from someone and take it as final. Like, that's how I can put it best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had already got my I-20. I was admitted for Masters in Business Administration at the time, MBA.
Mm-hmm.
Then started my process for visa application. Read every platform, USCIS website,
Mm-hmm.
got the full knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and did my DS 160, did my application, got a date for the interview, which was around October 2022.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first attempt.
Allah. Uh-huh. Now you have your
Went,
20, you've already been admitted. Well,
yes,
you're going for your first attempt.
went for my first attempt in October 2022.
And umesema all this time you're doing it by yourself, ama you preferred an agent?
The agent did not onboard me because of my GPA, so
So ukasema ni mimi na Mungu tu.
yeah, mimi nikajipanga, nikasoma,
Yeah.
gain knowledge,
Yeah.
and decided to pursue by myself.
Now I'm glad umesema ukasoma and gain knowledge, because that I think is one of the personal hata mimi, using the green card ilinisaidia sana kuweza kuwa na hiyo information. So it's critical for our viewers to be able to peruse the kind of visa they want. Peruse your website bro, kama ni mock ile ya KCSE.
Yeah, and I saved a lot of money because I think what the agent had quoted was around 140,000 Kenya shillings at the time.
For what?
Kukuprocessia visa. F1s wanaprocessiwa with the agent I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
140,000.
Na hiyo ni kitu yenye unaweza jifanyia tu ukisoma kwa website.
Yes, yes, yes. Hata until today bado watu hulipa. Kama people pay to get easy visit visa, if you are below 25 or yeah, below 30 na umesoma above high school, that
Ah.
is something you can do, I believe. Because unless you are fabricating stories,
Juu ni point blank tu. Kama unaitwa Jeremy Mwangi, unaitwa Jeremy Mwangi. Kama
na
ulizaliwa
kama unaishi
Ukanga,
Utawala, unaishi
unaishi
Utawala.
Utawala. There's nothing that changes.
Eh, and then like your birthday, your
Mm,
date of birth remains the same. So if you are above high school and you are
mhm.
below 30, at like if you have just completed high school, even if you are 50, you can read and write.
Right.
It's something step by step. It's your
You don't even
information that you are filling in.
you don't have to hire anyone because I remember when we were applying for the green card, kuna watu even that hired lawyers or an immigration attorney. Ati mtu amsaidie kufill hizo
Unalipa mtu over 100,000 Kenya shillings kukujazia date of birth.
na hiyo information atatoa tu kwa website yenye wewe unaweza enda.
No, hata at the time ya sha practice, but tu anajaza vitu zako like your
Mm.
details, date of birth and address.
Place of birth, sijui alafu
Yes, passport number,
kitu ana na kuitisha, give me your birth certificate, give me your ID, give me your
all
con.
personal information.
Yeah.
It's not a story, it's not a legal battle, it's nothing.
So when you decided to read this for yourself, ukaenda your first attempt, how was it? How was the experience like? Kwenda embassy. First of all, were you intimidated? Ujaienda embassy mara yako ya kwanza?
Yes, I had panicked, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And even the reason of panicking, it's because of, I think the dream iliniingia too much that I got desperate.
Okay.
Excuse me. So, and getting desperate is what I will highly discourage people. Never be desperate in this journey of coming to US because the consulars, the officers, they are highly trained to detect desperation. Because if you are desperate, that means you intend not to come back, and F1 is a non-immigrant visa, which you must go back. For any non-immigrant visa, you are supposed to go back, even if it's after 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or like for us, maybe studying, you are supposed to study for maybe 2 to 4 to 5 years plus internship, if we put it that way. But the eventually you are supposed to go back. So yes, never be desperate. That's one thing I will highly discourage people.
Mm-hmm.
So I got desperate, and it created some panic in me. Went for the interview. So during my interview, my first attempt, that is, I believe it went well,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't able to express myself well on how I'm going to be sponsored, because at the time, and I went with parents will be the person
Mm-hmm.
who will sponsor me in my academics, in my master's program.
Right.
So eventually, after those questions, I got denied. I got a pink slip.
Yeah. Wait, first of all, you are a businessman. Ulikuwa na biashara, bado parents wanaweza kusupport na statement. So
Yes.
what was the confusion there? Kama did they want you to show financial stability ama walikuwa wanataka uoneshe nini hapo kwa embassy?
No, they just, what I can just tell people is the consulars that you see on the other side of the window.
Mm.
I want to believe those are the smartest people they have put forward. They do maths, statistics, and the analysis in a way that a common person cannot understand. Cause and also they have a lot of psychology knowledge. because they will be wanting to detect something even without yourself. By the time you are getting the pink slip is when you now, like, you think back and say, oh, that's where I went wrong. So anyway, what happened is they questioned about my parents' business, and I answered wrongly because the math did not match.
Yeah. They are trying to connect the dots, wanaona ai hapa there's some missing information.
which was true. Like, by the time I was walking out of the door is when I was realized, oh my goodness, what, according to the questions, because the questions were reversed.
Mm-hmm.
It was about employees, income, expense. That is one thing I had not prepared, because they went like really deep
Into the parents'
into
business.
the correct.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I had not anticipated, and it's kind of like I was cooking figures. They were almost right, but
But they
since I'm
knew.
not prepared, and I saw like they were coming, and they were coming like continuous.
Yeah.
So the math did not math.
But you're lucky at least this guy gave you a chance for even to ask you a question. Unajua kuna wale unafikaga hivi anakwambia no tu hata ujui umefanya nini mbaya.
So, and that was what happened for my second attempt.
Oh. Hey, Manze, you had been disappointed. Okay, now the first time you go, they try connecting the dots, wanaona hapa there's a problem. They give you a pink slip.
Yes.
Tulilia sana, ulienda ukajificha, ukakunywa, ulifanya nini kumoni hiyo hiyo stress?
Nilienda home. The time I was staying by myself in Embakasi, so nilienda home
Mm.
along Kangundo Road to my parents. Nikakaa huko kama like a week,
Ukimeditate.
and kumeditate na kujicompose, because due to desperation, like I'd really envisioned myself that I'm done, I'm moving, I'm going to US.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents uh, thought of giving me another chance, and immediately, like in 2 weeks, I was back at the embassy. But
In two
this
weeks.
time, in 2 weeks, in
So how did you get
exactly 2 weeks.
the
Sorry?
nini the appointment into that fast? Because najua appointment ziuka sana.
Yes, tulilipa tukapata appointment, yes, I think sometime in December. Then I'd already, with good knowledge and know what was happening, I was good kutafuta dates.
Okay. Now yeah, you.
So personally nikajitafutia date na nikapata date ya the following week
Mm-hmm.
at the time, because nilipatanga like end of this, or I think Thursday, Friday, nikapata ya Tuesday next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in exactly 2 weeks after my first attempt, I was back there for my second attempt. This
Yeah,
time, oh,
persistence.
yeah, like I didn't believe how watu wameninyima.
Eh.
And also I wanted like to come and like, because I went for my B1 B2 visit visa. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to come. It was for a sports event.
Right.
Then I wanted to come participate in a sports event, remain, and change to F1 since already I had an I-20 with me.
Okay.
So went for my second attempt, go to the window. The guy asked me my name. Oh, the guy took my passport and invitation letter, asked me my name, asked me where you going, and returned my passport, gave me a pink slip, and told me, sorry, your visa is denied. I know you are recently here.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, first of all, you've paid for the visa for the interview. There's a fee you pay before you get there, correct?
Yeah, you have paid almost, I think, I don't know, something to do with something relating to 30,000
Damn.
visit
Alafu
visa.
unaambiwa tu wewe sasa pole, hata hujajiulizwa swali moja. So basically you've invested the process but no results yet.
Yeah, hata na got akisha kupatia pink slip, that deal is over. It's irreversible at that time.
In your imagination ama in your assessment, why do you think the second time hata mkudiscuss vitu mingi?
Uh,
Wanaweza
in my assessment, I would say, how comes you are going for an F1 and then 2 weeks later you want to go for visit?
bado ni ile desperation basi.
Yeah, so
They've sensed this guy wants to go to America, he will never come back.
yeah, this is a person that is so desperate that wants to escape.
Wants to escape the Kenyan misery.
Yeah, F1 then B2 in less than a month.
There's a problem here.
That's a problem.
And you had apart from your parents' business, you yourself had demonstrated that you are an individual who's a good citizen, well capable, a businessman, someone who's like anaweza jitegemea, because sometimes there is something they call public charge. They don't want people that come to America. Of course, maisha imewashinda Kenya, alafu maisha watawezaje na maisha ya America. So how do you demonstrated to them that wewe mwenyewe unajiweza apart from your parents?
Unfortunately, no, and it's because of their process. One, I just answered yes, I am a business person and I have this company called DS160.
Okay.
But they don't do any you don't attach any document, like nothing. It's just as what are you doing? Business. Which one? So it was very less information. And again, at the interview, you only answer what you're asked.
Right. Sikuwa na
And they
kimbelembele
didn't
na
bother.
information mingi.
Yes, you only answer what you asked. So, and they didn't bother on that section.
Okay.
So I wasn't able like to express what's going on with me at the time in terms of business success.
Okay. So maybe to understand, because me, I don't have prior experience with F1 visa or the process. Before you start the process, you applied for school, na ukakuwa admitted. Na ukiwa admitted, unapeagwa hiyo I-20.
Correct.
Okay, so wewe ukiapply process ya F1, what you present to the consular officer is the I-20 and proof of admission, correct?
I-20 is full proof of admission
Okay.
unless they request a letter of admission, which is not necessary. It's like what? I-20 is full proof of admission because the I-20 reads like contains all information: school you are going to, program you are going to, cost of the tuition fee, cost of living.
Mm-hmm.
It has the full information. That letter of admission just puts thank you for choosing this university and this program. Welcome to our university. We cannot wait to see you. It's just congratulations message. But
So,
I-20 full has everything.
and is there like a time limit? Kuna wamekwambia lazima urespond by this time ama uko umefika shule by this time? Because hizo delay za kukaziwa, za kunyimwa visa kwa embassy, is there a risk of you running out of time at this point ukienda mara ya pili?
No. The reason is, for example, I was going in October for a school start date in spring, January.
Okay.
So, and I hear people even who got their visa 1 week before their school start date, and they were told, yeah, so the only requirement is you be in US the day before your school start date.
Okay. And do they at the embassy, I'm sure the I-20 itakwambia school fees ni how much, correct?
Yeah, it has a category for tuition fee and living expense, and then it has a total whereby the letter of uh, is financial. What was the name? There is a letter. Whoever is sponsoring you must sign a letter of sponsorship.
So
Must
it's an,
contain a total amount of both living and tuition, accommodation and tuition.
it's an affidavit.
Yeah, thank you. That's the name.
Mm-hmm.
The affidavit of support. Affidavit of support.
Yeah. So umeenda mara ya pili, you have your affidavit, your I-20 is still valid, umekaziwa, lakini ya pili unataka kwenda kama mgeni. So at this point did you feel like acha na hii maneno, mi hata si ati I was struggling, acha ikae.
Yes. So my second attempt was like it. I like that 2 weeks I was suffering denial. So
Uh,
my denial, my second kunyimwa for the second time,
yeah,
like ilini relieve denial ikaisha nika accept.
yeah.
But what I forgot to mention is while I was denied my first attempt,
Uh-huh.
I paid personally, but with my money, I paid for uh, a trial to try again for student F1. And at the time, the interview date that was available was in April 2023, which is last year.
Mm-hmm.
One of the rules for the interviews states that when you are denied, you cannot expedite.
Okay.
So when I got that date, nikaiacha hivyo, but I went for my second interview, nikakuwa denied. Mimi life ikaendelea and I really concentrated in business.
Mm-hmm.
Then life ikaanza, ikakubali. Business was very successful. Hata hiyo mambo kwanza ya kuja US ni kama nikakuwa nimesahau.
Yeah, because mi najua mi nasemaga US ubamba sana mtu mwenye alikuwa hana form mtaani ama ametoka ocha, but I'm surprised in your case you are doing well for yourself and you still want to venture for a masters. Hiyo yenyewe ulikuwa motivated bana.
I was really, really motivated, and I must say that I think I normally like what do I call it? Like big challenges,
Yeah,
and I felt that was the big. For my case, there's nothing in life that I haven't tried and wasn't able to handle or succeed.
yeah.
So this thing that I was failing, I was ready to try again and again and again,
Mm-hmm.
or just to make sure that I've conquered,
Yeah.
like I've succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So, and that's what happened for my case. I was able to succeed.
So after being denied mara ya pili, you've gone, business is good, life has gone is going on well. At what point did you try to attempt again? Ama they just called you out of the kindness of their heart?
You'll never be called for an migrant visa.
They'll
I
never
had,
call you if you don't jituma.
yes, I had paid
Uh-huh.
for another trial for F1 visa, which was coming up in April 2023 last year.
But your admission was in spring, ikianza January.
Oh, yes. So for schools, you can defer as many times as possible. For my case, I deferred thrice, I guess,
Uh-huh.
because of my documentation, na kupata visa interview dates. I deferred twice
Mm-hmm.
before my first attempt. So tena nika defer. And I believe which applies to other schools because my school is very good.
Mm-hmm.
When you just tell them you have been denied visa, you need to defer.
Mm-hmm.
That's they act promptly. They defer you to the next semester, which might be summer, there are schools that don't take international students in summer as their first semester, and their school which does. Like mine accepted to defer me to summer
Mm-hmm.
as my first semester.
Okay.
Because summer classes are mostly online.
Okay.
So I was to start my program in summer 2023. Went for my third attempt. Again, now as F1 visa, and got admitted. Went at that time. I wasn't like desperate at all. Everything was good. Kabisa, kabisa.
Now this is in April.
This is in April 2023 last year.
Okay.
And I've decided I'm going just for the sake. Let me have a good time. Nikinyimwa, then I tried my best.
Yeah.
Kufika huko the guy took my passport, took my I-20, read my I-20 and asked, so I see you are going to the US to study Masters in Business Administration. When did you complete your bachelor's? Nikamwambia 2021. When so what have you been doing? So yes, now this guy gave me a chance to express myself about my business. So when he asked me what have you been doing, that's what now I got a chance. Told him that I've been doing. I'm a business person. I am an internet service provider. I provide internet in these areas, and I want now to pursue my master's and be able to come back and grow my business.
Okay.
And so akaniuliza, who is sponsoring your finances? Nikamwambia my parents. What do they do? Then wakati nilianza tu kusema ati what they do, akaniambia stop. Akaanza kutype. By the time anatype, I was in a confusion state, like nimenyimwa, nimepewa.
Mbona
Then
ameniambia
like,
to stop?
yeah, because alisema stop twice. Then akaniambia ati don't worry because I stopped you because you convinced me.
I think it's because again your story was consistent from last time. You know, they document everything that you say.
Uku, everything goes to record. So for my case, and at the time hata wakati aliniambia you have convinced me, that was a good sign that napata. But hata even at the time I wasn't like, I didn't get excited like because it's something that like my mood like was constant, I can say that.
Yeah.
Akamaliza kutype, akanipatia blue slip. Akaniambia this explains your next step.
Yeah.
So nikashanga, I was confident that hakunanga anything more. Nikashanga, do I need to pay? Do I need to do what? But there was a lady who was guiding the queue. Akaniambia, you can go. Your passport will be shipped to you via DHL. Mimi nikatoka embassy. Alafu about the embassy, ukipatiwa blue paper, blue slip, una make sure ringi hata kama iko kwa file zako at least inaonekana. Pink,
Unaifichanga. Ni kama nakumbuka me when I was going, because tulikuwa tumesumbuana sana. Now my story is opposite of you. Maybe because they were delayed in communication, na mi nilikuwa najua mine is an immigrant visa. So me I showed desperation kabisa. Yani nikawasumbua. So finally waliniruhusu hata niingie without them having my medical results. They imagine they allowed me to even do the interview, na wako wamepokea medical results zangu from IOM. Wakaniambia, so unfortunately I have to, after interview ananiambia, unfortunately nita have kuambia at this point your application has not been approved. Akanipea hiyo sijui inaitagwa ya waiting. Yellow ndio ya waiting.
Yellow ni waiting, yes.
For more information, akanipea hiyo yellow, akaniambia, but once we get your medical, we'll make a decision by the end of the day. Unajua hapo nje kwa embassy kuna kuaga tu viti watu nakaga hapo.
Yes.
So kulikuwa watu wamekaa hapo, people were just waiting. Nilificha ka yellow kangu, hata sikuwa nataka mtu akaone. Mpaka niliuliza kumeendaje?
Yellow si mbaya, at least unaweza ionyesha, but blue kwanza watu wanatembeanga nayo hivi kama briefcase.
Uoneshe watu mimi sasa am an American material.
Mimi kitu nimebaki nayo ni flight ticket.
We sasa ukapigwa ka blue.
Naingianga kwa mafile huko ndani. So yeah, got my blue slip, went home. At the time, I had just a month to be in US, because it was in April, then May, that was my school start date. Went, stayed a week, nikaendea passport yangu huko International House, shipped by DHL, nikaconfirm wenyewe visa iko hapo ndani.
Na by the hiyo visa ya F1 inakuwaga umepewa duration like 4 years mpaka umaliza kuolea ama 2 years, ama inakuwa gani?
Ni 5. Constant 5. Or the day before your passport expires.
Okay.
So I will urge all people who are going for F1, more so like F1, just ensure that your passport is valid for more than 5 years.
Okay.
Because the visa itself should be 5 years, or unless your passport is expiring before less than 5 years, it will be the day before your passport expires.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yes. Yeah, so it was for 5 years.
So you had less than 1 month and you were able to buy your ticket at the same time and travel?
Yes.
Na si ticket hapo lilipishwa pesa mingi bana because of...
Hapana, apparently I was flying Nairobi to Dallas, used Lufthansa, via Frankfurt, Germany. I paid 91,000. I'll never forget.
That was a
I
good
paid
deal.
by M-Pesa.
That was a good deal bana.
Nilipa 91K and a good economic class. It was superb.
That was the first time you were leaving Kenya? In
No, I've
general?
left. Fly out of Kenya to Kigali. So, but that was like my real experience of tu kutoka Kenya. Nimeenda UG, TZ and Rwanda.
Yeah.
But your experience, like, it was now the real experience.
Now you've gotten umefika USA. This last session, before we go to the last session, I know we are running out of time. We have like 20 minutes or so. I'm just going to welcome our viewers. Najua nimeweka sana. David Mudhama, huyo ni jamaa wa 1960. Jamaa karibu aondokee scene pia yeye. Willicent Wanjiro anasema Nakuru in the building. Kanado anasema leo amefika mapema. But Karl Marx anasema at USA masomo ni pesa mingi sana. Germany, countries like Sweden and Norway, masomo ni free, hakuna kulipa ndururu ya fees. Then Prime, and maybe you can confirm this when we are talking about your expenses so far vile zimekuwa na masomo. Then Fidelis anasema niaje Joe, big up man from TZ. Karibu sana Fidelis. Now, umefika USA, umeanza masomo, kimfuko ulikuwa umejipanga na hiyo school fees yote, because I know tuition is one of the limiting factors for F1 applicants.
Sikuwa nimejipanga because in fact I even did not know my tuition fee. What was in the I-20 or I had not even known how to interpret it, but I just came.
So ulisema tu mi bora
mbele kuzuri,
kesi baadaye.
kesi baadaye.
Yeah.
Watu wanaendanga huko US na wana manage. Mimi ni nani?
Yeah.
So arrived in the US, stayed like 3 days. I went straight to the school. So from being in school, nikagather what's required. I was staying in the hostel at the time for my first semester since I didn't know anyone around. Then nikajua the tuition. My parents were able enough to support me.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I still had my business running, and they were able to support me as I top up a few money on top. So, and yes, got admitted, started my first semester in summer, which ran basically June, July,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the last week of May and ending the first week of August.
Yeah.
Uh, Studied vizuri. It was very relaxing, no pressure, no students, there were not many students around. So I just assimilated slowly, then nikamaliza hiyo summer semester.
Were you living on campus?
Correct, in hostel,
Mm-hmm.
which was very expensive. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, hostels are very expensive. I don't know why people opt for hostels. Na
Mm-hmm.
kujirentia nyumba, but I think the problem is renting a house. You have to qualify for an apartment too. Ni kama kuapply kazi.
Yes, and I did not have anything in terms of social security, no, nothing. But now, what maybe can be very important to the audience is when you get in the US, immediately you are the following day when you have arrived in the US. This is what I would advise or recommend. As soon as you get to the US, you should get there's something called state ID. It's like the national ID in
Right.
Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
Because huku you must really identify yourself. Like ukishikwa na karao, the first thing atataka tu ID.
Yeah.
So if you don't have your ID at the time is your passport. Being an immigrant, you need to support that passport with I-20.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be walking around with your passport, because that's what I did for like my first week. But for me, my first week, I was advised went to get my state ID. You go with your passport, your I-20, your I-94, and you are given a state ID. Now from there, you can leave your passport. You start now your life. From there, your next step you should study knowledge. Driver's test is called, I think, knowledge test.
Mm-hmm.
Ukishapita unapatiwa driver's permit.
Okay.
If you are good enough, inafaa immediately you apply for physical, what's the name, inakwanga like the actual driving
Mm-hmm.
physical test, like mnaenda on the road na police officer, then ana kutest.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after that utapata driver's license. Now for another thing that is big requirement huku US ni social security number, SSN,
Yeah.
or in other name ni social.
Yeah.
You really require that number, and for us students, you can only get it through getting job inside the school.
You have to work for work study. That's what they call it, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So work yourself very hard and be smart, get a job,
Mm-hmm.
then get a social security number. That number will help you now in getting a lease, getting a car, getting anything. But now, after when it goes well and you get your social security number,
Mm-hmm.
I will urge you to get a credit card.
Right.
People will have so many opinions,
Mm-hmm.
but those people having opinions already they did the same.
Yeah. They might
And
advise you not to, but hiyo ndio
that's what
njia
they did.
wanafanya. Yeah.
The only reason you are doing that is si ati uingie kwa madeni na nini, it's to
Uh-huh.
build your credit score.
Yeah.
You don't have any credit history. How will a financial institution trust you with their money?
Right.
So You are only doing that to build your credit score and credit history. And among the best credit cards for students is Discover.
Mm-hmm.
And Discover will give you a credit card without a lot of requirements. They will only want your social security number, and if everything is good and good background check, you're good to go.
Mm.
With that, they will you'll start building your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the best thing about Discover and a student, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be given zero APR, zero rates.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll start you with 1,000 to 1,500. Myself, I was given 1,500 at the start.
What is it, a secured or unsecured?
It's unsecured, totally unsecured. They have no security. I don't.
They just
I
trust
was
you with
given
their money.
1,500. 1,500 hiyo ni karibu 200K
Yeah.
bila interest
Mm.
for 2 years till I graduate.
Nice. So the benefit of
One
this
and a half
credit
years.
is the benefit of, first of all, the first step, you get your state ID, you get your driver's license, you get a job in school, which will help you get a social security number. Once you have a social security number, you get a credit card so that you can build your credit. Na kwanzia hapo sasa unaweza, the sky is the limit. You can still work zile 20 hours zenye students wako allowed, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you can achieve that in your first to second month,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be at the perfect trajectory. For my case, that's what happened to me. By end of July, second month, I
Mm-hmm.
had all those things together.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, came for a vacation in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I remained in Indiana. I was commuting to school.
You are leaving Indiana all the way to Arkansas.
Yes,
How
flying
did
Chicago to Dallas.
how often, and why would you do something like that? Kwa sababu mtu anasema yes, ni mbali sana.
Yes, that's a big question. Everywhere I go, like it comes up. For
Mm-hmm.
my case, Arkansas, I never knew anyone at all, at all, at all, at all. Then, reason Indiana, I had family relatives in Indiana,
Yeah.
and being in Arkansas and being alone, kinda, I was feeling depression.
Yeah.
So mimi nikabaki huku Indiana cause I felt a lot of being at home,
Mm-hmm.
and my relative hosted me for that entire time, providing accommodation and meals for free.
Okay. Now that at least ikakutoa hizo pressure mingi as a newcomer, because I know supporting yourself as a student na you're not working full time might be a challenge sometimes.
Yes, and for me, I'm good at analysis. I just did the math. The
Mm-hmm.
cost of traveling and the cost of accommodation shule was the same. And me being here in Indiana and me being able to like stay with family,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to remain because the cost was very, very close.
Now, someone,
And
before we go on, kuna mtu tu aliuliza a question that most people have. First of all, I'd like to big up Mike Korir, anasema he's watching from Kapsabet. But Ken anauliza, kuna story ya funding na it's a crazy thing at the embassy. Hawataki mse ako na student loan offer letter. How can one bypass this challenge, because bank statement ni crazy kupata? So in your case, wewe ulikuwa mwanabiashara and your parents are willing to support you. Kuna ujanja yoyote kweli kama kama bank statement ni noma kupata?
mimi ndasema hivi,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a personal opinion. Anyone can differ with it.
Mm-hmm.
Embassy don't want to look at any document.
They don't they don't care about documents.
They don't want to look at any document, and this is due to fraudulent documents that they have seen day in, day out.
Yeah.
So I will urge, najua about Empower, najua about hizo student loans and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
I will maybe say advice, and if it's true, it's only that maybe it cannot be proved in a good way. If
Mm-hmm.
you have support and you are sure you will be able to cater for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
I will say just say family, like parents or something, family that are sponsoring you. But 99% is they won't require that statement because they don't want to look at any document.
You're right, because hata mi nikienda interview yangu nilikuwa na hizo statement, nilikuwa na affidavit written on paper, and most of the time, the affidavit, especially for immigrant visas, they want their sponsor to go on the website here via US, ajaze information yake hapo, IRS information yake hapo. So kwa consular office Nairobi anaangalia computer, nikampea paper, lieka tu kando, akaniuliza do you have any proof of support kama statement, nikamwambia niko nazo, hata kuniambia ati azione, and I had like a lot of documents hivi, hakushughulika.
Mi naonanga mimi sitipenda thrice nimekuwa na like actual kuona watu people go with briefcases like suitcase nini of documents, files. Let me tell you, pale kwa counter hata taka kuona the weight of your documents or the size of your documents. Atataka tu passport and another document. That's it. That's it. And that's how they operate. They want to see your facial expression, say yourself.
Your confidence level. And I think one thing before to understand, I would like to mention about an interview, and this I learned. Interview inaanzaga at the gate, au makarau huko kwa gate, the main gate, alafu ukiingia kuna kagate kengine kadogo hapo kwenye unatoa belt nini, wanakusearch, and then ukiingia after hiyo gate ya pili kuna place watu wamekaa chini. At hiyo place watu wamekaa chini ukingoja, you never know ni nani ako hapo. Maybe even it's one of them, but amekaa hapo kama mtu anakuja kuinterviewiwa. And that's something I avoided during my time. I avoided conversations hapo kwa waiting bay. Sitaki kuongea na mtu. I didn't want to talk
But
to
anyway,
anyone.
I hear right now like hakuna hizo maqueues. Like what according to venye nimesikia recently, like the processing is so quick.
Yeah.
Hiyo chain I remember me my first attempt nilikaa kwa hiyo waiting bay karibu 1 hour.
Oh.
Sasa nasikia by the time uingie kwa gate na kutoka kwa hiyo gate you can spend even 30 minutes.
That's good. That's good. So someone also asked, how do you explain the gap after my high school, let's say 5 years? I think the gap unaulizagwa too because they ask you when did when you graduated high school, maybe unasema 2015, and then they will ask you what have you been doing between 2015 and now, because that's what they asked me. And then unaweza sema maybe I've been in school or I've been in working.
Yeah, saving money to start school, which sounds good.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about now you've moved from college, umekuja Indiana, and now sometimes you travel over there, sometimes you work online. For students wenye sasa washafika hapa na maybe wanasikia kimewaramba, wanasikia nyewe maisha imekuwa tight kabisa. And now what is your advice for anyone now who's already here na wanafeel enyewe hii maisha ni moto sana? How have you been able to navigate to cool off the temperatures?
By any chance ukisikia temperatures iko too high, the only time like you get overwhelmed in finances. Big advice, join a community college. The best thing about US, as long as you have an F1 visa, you can do any program or any community. You can go to university or community college as long as you are qualified. Probably if you are not, there are prerequisites and you'll be able to start a program. if you feel universities are expensive or something, or the program you are in, the school you are in, you can change state, you can do so much. But community college is a go-to for many, which I feel might be cheaper.
Right, compared to main universities, kwa sababu one of the other limiting factor for people who apply, moja mtu akiwa mtaani na Google best universities in America, anaona
Oh my God.
Stanford, Ohio State. It's not, we are not saying it's impossible, but it's good to dream big. But I feel, even in my view, apart from being cheaper, it's easy to get admission in hizi university hazina masifa mingi compared to unasikiaga tu Stanford, sijui Harvard, alafu unashinda huko umesumbuliwa. And one thing I've noticed about schools in the US, hizo tu ni majina, ni PR tu, but school huku ni almost ugraduate kwa community college na mwingine agraduate sijui Stanford. Imagine nyinyi wote mbele ya employer mko same.
Yes, so huko there are many universities, I will say so. Like every state has universities, be it whichever those in the deserts, Bado or Iowa, South Dakota, this South Dakota State University, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So my advice will be join any university that you see it's affordable. My university is very, very affordable, and you will not be limited in any way as long as you study hard, graduate, and you have that certificate. It can take you to any company of your choice.
Yeah.
And you have the skill sets.
Yeah.
And you can prove, because you'll obviously be required to prove at interview process.
Yeah.
So I will advise people not to go for those glamorous universities. They are expensive. They have higher standards of admissions and all sorts of like barriers. Join any university and get an admission.
Right.
Step in US.
Yeah.
Start your journey of conquering.
Lastly, yeah, definitely start your journey of conquering the world, because now you are in the world stage. There's nowhere mbele hapa hakuna ujanja ingine sasa.
Yes.
So maybe lastly, and if you have final thoughts, you can add as well. What do you think now is the future for any F1 student mwenye ashafika? Because in my view, anyone who asks me about F1, mi hujaribu kusema, I think it's more advantageous to the applicant if they are in a STEM course, because it's more marketable in the US and you can apply to remain in the US as a green card holder after masomo yako. So what is the future for an F1 student after 5 years na hatai kurudi mtaani? What are the options they have to now be permanently reside in the United States?
Yes, one thing that you have already mentioned, if you're coming with an F1, please make sure that your program is in the STEM. Science, technical, engineering, or mathematics. First advantage, you'll get 3 years OPT, which goes like 1 year OPT, then 2 years extension. That is 3 years.
Okay.
Postgraduate. So if doing bachelor's, that is, we'll have just a good bachelor's 4 years plus 3, that is 7 good years of being on legal status.
Uko na time mingi ya kujipanga.
7 good years, that is bachelor's. Master's is 2 plus 3, that is 5 good years. So, and one thing I will also encourage, even if you're continuing with your studies, always try and apply for the DV lottery.
At the same time, yes.
For those 7 years or 5 years, you never know.
Right.
And once ukishinda hapa, hata hakunanga stories mingi, stories za jaba ati nini.
Yeah.
Hapa unaingianga tu kwa USCIS, unafanya medical na unafanya adjustment of status.
Yeah, actually it's way much easier and faster if you
1400 kwa just status. 14 or 5 or 1400 USD. And you adjust your status, you get your green card in your mail after less than a month.
Yeah.
Another option, as soon as you are done and you have your certificate, get yourself into an association, like in your practice, get a certification also, and we'll be having a minimum requirement to apply for green card called EB1, National Interest Waiver, EB1 NIW, which does not require a job offer or a job offer. You self-petition yourself, and you are eligible to get a green card.
Nice.
And that's a pathway that people are really embracing it.
That's really dope, Manze. And thank you, Manze, for your insights. Before we round this up, I'd like to read two comments that just came in as you were explaining. America, beautiful land from Tanzania, nasema ako ndani, ako locked. I don't know if you know your mom is also watching, ama anatupima huyu, anasema I'm the parent of Jeremy.
That's my mom.
How coincidence I've met you guys live and also a fan of John Duty. God's favor all through. Yeah, God's favor all through, Esther Mwangi. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Esther Mwangi. Mamu wa Jeremy ako ndani pia. Yeah, man. Guys, if you have any more questions, you can always comment or ask on the chat. Tukishamaliza itakuwa hii video iko recorded kwa live section on my YouTube channel. You can always reach out to, are you on YouTube, or how can people find you, for any questions or concerns?
Oh, for myself, Facebook and Instagram, Jeremy Macharia.
Jeremy Macharia, Facebook and Instagram. Enda kwa DM muulize amenavigate aje hizi maki ya waters. I am even surprised. Most F1 students wanashikagwa na kiwewe haraka, but Jeremy is one of the F1 students I've met that is anakaa ni kama anaelewa, yani amepanga kazi yake mzuri, so I think he would be a good resource for anyone who's looking to follow the same trajectory. Well, without further ado, tulikuwa tumesema hii yetu itaenda karibu 1 hour, na manze nakushukuru manze for creating time, and I hope next time we can come with more insights
for sure.
Yeah, thank you manze, and thank you guys for joining us. Be blessed. All the best, and may God's favor be with you. Inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you.